Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello all, what is going on? How you guys all doing on this Thursday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was the September 16th, 2024 edition, and it took place in Portland, Oregon. Probably the place of the last NXT TakeOver event that I enjoyed before, of course, the pandemic. 2.0 coming out. Just had to throw that out there. But we're here, not live again. I'm sorry. Last week also, again, I apologize. Last week, I just gassed out in that review that I tried to do live, talk about the other things as well, and it just did not work out. I do apologize. So, I'm here. I was going to record this last night. Unfortunately, though, again, I started looking up other things I had on my mind, and I literally just wasn't in the right mindset to do a review last night. So I am here tonight to do a review, to catch up on Monday Night Raw. We only have just a couple more episodes of Raw left before Raw goes to 2 hours, which that starts on October 7th. The Fallout show from Bad Blood. And if I'm hearing correctly, it does sound like there are posts going out today saying that SmackDown will indeed be moved to 3 hours once Raw moves to Netflix in January. I've already left my thoughts about that. I'm just going to say it again. Again, I would rather both shows be 2 hours, if I'm being real. But again, Triple H has shown me, especially through episodes like this, he can put on a good 3-hour episode of television. Which, honestly, if they are going to have a 3-hour show, I would rather it be on Fridays, not Mondays. But again, like the problem I have right now, though, is the fact that I just don't think the current SmackDown roster is going to be able to sustain a 3-hour show. I would have said if you really wanted to move to 3 hours, wait until after next year's draft. Because then you can put more stars on SmackDown, and they're more established stars. Because SmackDown, again, right now is full of a bunch of names that are still finding their footing. And some just might be damaged goods, unfortunately. But this week's episode of Raw, I thought, was another outstanding episode. A lot of great things I saw to come. We had a great opening promo from CM Punk. We had some progression in the New Day story. I was worried it was going to happen after the quiet firing of Odyssey Jones. We have our Intercontinental title match being set up for next week. We had another freaking amazing brawl with Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, which I'm going to get your guys' thoughts on a poll. There's two matches, well, two stipulations that should be considered for their match, and it should be at Bad Blood. We even got some progression with the Sami Zayn and Gunther storyline. And overall, again, just another great show. Again, Raw is just on fire right now. On fire. And I think it's awesome. But we're going to roll in and talk about this episode of Raw, and then we will call it a night and go from there. I'm trying to get some more baseball highlight videos out as well. Starting to work on the last park in Roller Coaster Tycoon, the bonus park and Mega Park, and much more to come to the channel as well. And again, you'll have to excuse with all the random baseball highlights again. Again, guys, the big thing about the baseball highlight videos is the fact that my dream job, and I know it's probably never going to happen, was to create sports highlights. Be able to shoot and edit sports highlights. That was my dream job, which is why I went into video, of course. Besides, of course, wanting to be, creative and just bring my thoughts to live action. So yeah, that's just my way of, using playing one of my favorite sports and being able to just, create my own images, be able to fulfill something that I may never get to do in real life. But anyways, enough said about that. Let's talk about Raw. So the show opened up with CM Punk pulling in his car and just looking serious as hell. This is the first time we've seen him since he got claymored by Drew McIntyre on Raw with the broken bracelet bead stuffed in his mouth. So he came out, and I know a lot of people were hoping pipe bomb. We didn't get pipe bomb. We got a tamer, though, serious promo. But of course, it still worked. I thought it was a very well done promo. He cuts a promo saying how at some point people ask him how many matches does he have left in his old body. He has depending on how you feel about him. The answer is either wildly disappointing or very exciting. And the answer is way more than you think. When he came back to WWE, he said he didn't come back to make friends. It didn't mean he came here to make a mortal enemy. But he's certainly done that with Drew McIntyre. So much so that this has to end inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. He feels naive to think that this would be over because he touched 4 turnbuckles in Berlin. And maybe Drew was a little bit naive to think it was over because he jumped him in Chicago months ago. But he's just too stubborn. And Drew's fatal mistakes in all of this is not getting the job done. Now the things are drastically different. People can ask him, how many Hell in a Cell matches has he have left in him? And the honest answer is 0. His sister has asked him not to do this. His wife asked him not to do this. And the angel on his shoulders begged him not to do this. But he wants to explain why he is going to do the Hell in a Cell match. If you push him hard enough, he'll become the devil himself. Because to quote the guy from in Ring of Honor, the greatest thing the devil ever said was making people believe that he didn't exist. Which of course is one of my favorite promos, and one of my which led to one of my favorite returns, of course, with the MJF return at All Out 2022, was shortly before Brawl Out, and also again the inspiration for my intro on the channel. But anyways, the devil in his heart says the only way this ends is in Hell in a Cell. Same heart Drew promised to stop beating, and he can't promise he won't kill Drew, because he doesn't make promises he can't deliver. So his promise is he's going to make Drew bleed. He promises that Drew will have to kill him because he is prepared to die. And for this heart to stop beating, he's had a great career, and this is how it ends, so be it. And if he's prepared for this to be the end of Drew McIntyre, Punk will see him in hell. Again, I know a lot of people definitely wanted like a pipe bomb type promo. This is a nice transition. It was a tamer and serious promo. Of course, I'm wondering if we will get blood inside this Hell in a Cell match. I think we gotta get blood. I'm sorry, again, I know it's PG. We gotta get a blood in a match like this. That's so personal. The rivalry's been so great. You gotta get blood in this. And he's right, because we can't forget, Punk has been very injury prone since he first returned to wrestling back in 2021. Some people are saying he may just be one injury away from hanging up for good. I hope that's not how it ends. Although the fact that CM Punk has come back to wrestling, let alone come back to WWE, has felt very fulfilling. But I just hope he gets to go out on a brighter note. But we'll see what happens with this Hell in a Cell match. We'll see how much they tear each other apart and what all they do. Of course, if you want to talk about him going all out, no pun intended, just remember what all he did with the dog collar match with him and MJF. I still love the part when he said over the microphone, "Eat shit, Max!" That was a great match. I look forward to, because I am still constructing my lists for best and worst matches of each year that I've been a wrestling fan, when I get to 2022, that will be on the list. I think I'm on 2020 now, for what I remember. That will definitely be on my list for sure. But a good opening promo. Speaking of stuff that's even good too, we have Sheamus being interviewed, talking about he taught Pete Dunne too well. He really hit him where it hurts. Not his hands or his back, but when he took his dream of being Intercontinental Champion from him, which is the only championship that Sheamus has never held. Now it's time to inflict pain on his protege. He begs the crowd not to call him Butch because he hates it. And if you said Butch over and over again, well, and the crowd starts chanting Butch, 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 whatever it is. He says, but now, tonight, Pete Dunne becomes his Butch. And he asks Portland if they're ready for a banger before he goes down and makes his entrance. Pete Dunne came out. They had another really great match. Again, both these men have great chemistry together. I also like Pete Dunne's song, too. I mentioned that. I do like Pete Dunne's theme song. I actually like it a little bit better than his original theme when he first came in as the Bruiserweight. But, yeah, they had another excellent match. I believe a shillelagh did get involved yet again. The ref didn't see it, though. And this time, it led to Pete Dunne getting a victory over Sheamus. So they're 1-1. Will there be a third match? If the card wasn't already stacked for Bad Blood, I'd say give this a pay-per-view match. Because, again, Sheamus, when he gets in these feuds with guys that just want to beat the hell out of each other, he really has put on banger after banger after banger. And again, he's making Pete Dunne look like a main event player again, which I love seeing. Just don't call him Butch. I love that in his character. But that's another awesome match right there. We have the Terror Twins walking backstage when they ran into main event Jey Uso. Yeet! Jay says he's going to have his eyes on Damian's match tonight in the main event against Dominik Mysterio. And then when Xavier Woods rolls up, he says he hasn't seen eye to eye with Damian in the past, but they all have an issue with the Judgment Day. And he asks for Priest not to get involved in the New Day and the Judgment Day's tag title match. Damian agrees and tells them to, as long as you whoop them ass and take them titles, because we're getting a very rare tag title defense. I gotta be real again. If there's one thing that I am gonna knock Triple H for, is this tag team division. I still, if I'm being 100% honest, didn't think it was a good idea to split the tag titles up at WrestleMania, because again, we're barely seeing them on get defended. They haven't, other than the women's tag titles, the men's tag titles, both the World or WWE tag titles, have not been defended on pay-per-view since WrestleMania. And in general, they've rarely been defended. Well, the WWE ones on SmackDown have been defended more than Raw's World Tag titles. Because this is what? Was this just the first or second defense for Judgment Day since they won the tag titles back in June off of Awesome Truth? But, yeah, that's kind of bland. Not too good. I still remember when tag team wrestling is on fire, it's definitely some of the best things for sure in wrestling to watch. But yeah, I don't like that's been happening. So, but we'll see, of course, because the tag match we got later on in the show, as far as the match goes, it was fine. But storyline wise, it's a big talking point for sure. Anyways, we then have a backstage segment with Miz talking with Braun Strowman, who Braun's getting ready to get another crack at Bronson Reed after Bronson cost him his spot for the Intercontinental Championship number one contendership last week. But the Miz rolls up, and they're just chatting. But Miz mentions, I just need to know one thing, though. Braun, why did you say you didn't think I could handle Bronson Reed? And Miz says that, I mean, Braun basically says it's nothing against you. It's just you need a monster to handle a monster. Which, again, they're teasing the hell out of Miz possibly going heel again. Which, don't get me wrong, Miz is for sure at his best as a heel. I just don't know what there's left for Miz to do as a heel, especially right now. I don't know who you could really put him with, but okay, we'll see. I don't know. So they're teasing the hell out of that. Natalya had a match against Zoey Stark, and not much really happened. Natty won by a schoolboy roll-up, and that was it. Now this was interesting. Now this is like just a tiny little like good thing that happened, but again, it just shows once again that, you know, you can go back to things. I guess Triple H is a guy who's more so like, remember when this happened? Well, we'll get the answer why here. Get the answer why here. We always get answers to why things happen. Unless it's Odyssey Jones getting fired and they have to cover that up. But anyways, Rhea Ripley's backstage. Finn Balor rolls up and says he's been meaning to catch up with her for a while. And he really feels like she's just as bad as Damian Priest. And Rhea says they were a family. Acted like they cared. But in reality, the only thing she cared about was herself. And this is what all Finn's saying, sorry. And Finn is sick of being blamed for everything that went wrong with Judgment Day. Rhea then unloads on him, telling him how she tried to do was make opportunities for her family. But if they want her and Damian to be the bad guys, they'll just see how bad they can be. Finn says, well, there's one more thing I wanted to tell you. And he said that he was the devil on Dominik's shoulder, telling him to go for Liv. Which made me think back to months ago. Remember the episode of Raw? Whenever there was the... when Liv gave Dom her room key. And we saw a segment either later that night or the following week on Raw, where the key was set in like the middle of the middle of a table, and you see Finn take the key. That's why. That's why he took the key, because he wanted Dom to do it. So again, just following up and just, you know, making things make sense. Remember when this happened. Remember when this happened. It always comes back to it. So, again, I gotta be honest again and say that the stuff with the Terror Twins and Judgment Day, again, I'm not gonna lie, has gotten a little repetitive. Like, they may need to wrap it up after Bad Blood, because they're not really doing much new. But I at least like this little Easter egg that they reveal. But I like that. But in the midst of this, Jey Uso rolls up and tells Vin, yo, we have a problem. And he waves it off as, we're just two friends catching up, before telling him to focus on his IC title match because he's out of his league with Rhea Ripley. Which they continue to show that Rhea does seem to be for real interested in Jey. So I don't know if they really are going to do a storyline or not. But anyways, Rhea tells Jey to focus on bringing the title home. And he has a promo later on, which actually next, he has a promo with Braun Breaker. He got his match with Braun Breaker. He's about to get his first singles title. Probably not. He's excited about it. And he wanted it since he came to Raw and left the Bloodline. Now he doesn't need help, and he can do it all on his own. Out comes the badass. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Braun says, he told Jey to stay away. And yet, here he is with this relentless pursuit of the IC title to prove he doesn't need his family. Well, Braun did his homework. And 14 years ago, Jey Uso first joined WWE. 14 years is indeed a long time. And there's no doubt that Jey is a big star. The fans love him. They love chanting his name. But he's managed to do more as a single star in 6 months than Jey did in his whole career. And the kicker is, Braun did it without his father, or uncle, or even their name. He did it all by himself. Because this IC title is his family, and what he fights for, Jey said, and what he fights for. But Jey interrupts him and says, he's been on the roster for 14 years, winning titles while Braun was still in diapers. And next week, he wants to dog walk his ass. And we're going to see that Braun is what Braun is made of, because it might just end up being short and sweet like his NFL career. Which, first off, I did not know Braun Breaker was in the NFL. But when I heard that, I'm like, oh, Talk about just a simple little way to get like a little bit of heat going there. So obviously, Braun, gets pissed by that. He steps away, and he goes to drop Jay with a cheap shot, and then he draws up Jay, and he goes for a spear on Jay, but Jay beat him to the punch and speared him instead. So I think it's the first time I could think of, at least, I don't know about NXT, where Braun ate a spear, but it definitely put a lot more heat to this match. So, but of course, it's not the last time we saw Braun Breaker. Later on the show, after this, we have a backstage where Bianca and Jade were hanging out when Io Sky rolls up. Demand, why would Bianca challenge Kairi Sane? It was a match against her later on the show, when she's injured, and calls her a coward. Which I guess that means Damage Control's back to being heels. They were just pseudo baby faces against the Pure Fusion Collective. Who knows? But anyways, Jade though takes issues, but Bianca points out that Bianca didn't challenge anyone. She got booked. But if Io's so concerned, maybe she can step in and take Kairi's place instead. To which Io accepts the challenge, and we got the match later on the show. But then, we got one of my favorite parts of this show. We got the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, the World Tag Team Champions, defending against the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Like I said, not much really happened during the match. But this was a story progressing match. Because towards the end of the match, the rest of Judgment Day came out to ringside. And then we didn't see the Terror Twins. But instead, we saw the LWO come out and try taking them out. Off distraction, McDonough gets 2 off a Schoolboy. Xavier Woods, though, then rocks him with a super kick. But as that's going on, Kofi Kingston dives to the outside and causes chaos on the outside. And I can't remember if it was during this moment or when it was, but some point in the night also, someone shoved Wade. I don't know if it was during. I can't remember if it was during this match or if it was during another brawl. It might have been during here. I can't remember. But or the main event. Some point in the night, someone shoved themselves into Wade Barrett, and Wade Barrett took a bump. I am still wondering because I just saw some note about Wade Barrett. I thought of this. I am still wondering if the plan is for Wade Barrett to eventually come back to the ring. Because again, they're teasing. He keeps getting involved with Drew McIntyre stuff. And then he even takes a bump here, like, they're teasing something. By the way, also, Joe Tessitore, he's grabbing onto to wrestling commentary really quick. I think he's doing a really great job. The more I watch him weekly, he is starting to remind me more and more of Mauro Ranallo. He's not even close to being a Mauro yet, but he is getting so much better quickly, I gotta say. But anyway, so while Kofi's causing chaos outside the ring, Xavier Woods had a super kick and hit his limit breaker, but the referee, Sean Bennett, was busy on the floor tending to what Kofi was doing. And Xavier Woods goes to yell at him, but then off distractions, the Judgment Day team up on Xavier Woods and take him out. And they retain the titles. And Xavier Woods is pissed off. He was pissed off, and he kind of even brushes off Kofi. Then we go back, and we see Kofi trying to find Xavier Woods. And we found Xavier Woods yelling at the LWO for getting involved and costing them their match. Kofi then says, I was the one who asked them to have our back if Judgment Day played the numbers game. What would have happened if they weren't there? Xavier says, why? They never needed help before. And Kofi says, yeah, but we don't have E anymore. And that just sets off Xavier more. It takes more offense. He goes, and complains that Kofi leaving him in the dark and not sharing his plans once again, and he storms off. And again, Xavier did have the match won. So again, I'm pretty sure the plan was to have Odyssey Jones kind of be the thing that drives the wedge between the New Day. And now that he's gone, I wish how they want to do it, but they're still like moving forward, teasing a New Day breakup. And they keep emphasizing that New Day's coming up on their 10-year anniversary as a tag team. I'll bet you, when the time comes for the turn, because I don't think it's obvious who is turning. I might have to, of course, get a poll out there to see what you guys think. I don't think it's obvious who's turning. A lot of people say it could be Xavier Woods, but you never know. It could go with Kofi. Whoever it is, though, I think that turn is happening. I'm pretty sure when it comes for the 10-year celebration, they will have some sort of segment on Raw. And that will be when the turn happens. That will be when New Day split up. And I'm very intrigued to see when it goes down. So, that was great stuff there. Definitely was some of my favorite stuff of the show. Oh my, what was also awesome? Well, first, we also did have a VHS tape of the Wyatt Six and a promo about how the voice of the Red gets louder, screaming in silence, which some say could be them teasing another member. I'm guessing if they bring somebody else, it'll probably be Alexa Bliss, but who knows? But we are done with the craziness. We then were supposed to have a match with Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. But when Bronson, when they both get out there, Braun sidesteps a charge before the bell rings as Bronson tried to charge at him, and Bronson Reed ran into the turnbuckle and it snaps clean off. So the ring's already destroyed in 2 seconds. And then, I gotta read this note from note. Braun then slams him and throws him out of the ring. They fight on the floor, and they weren't even on camera. Bronson Reed, which I thought at first it was Jimmy Uso, no joke. Which also, by the way, has anybody heard anything about what's going on with Jimmy? Because apparently there was a post that Rikishi posted saying, please pray for my son. And then it comes out that Jimmy is okay, but I don't know what exactly is going on with Jimmy. But anyways, Bronson Reed threw a fan at Braun Strowman. And I thought at first it was Jimmy Uso when he did it. But he throws the fan there, and then Braun charges and freight trains Bronson through the barricade. They fight through the crowd. They get through all the attempts to be constrained. They go also, they brawl to the back, and then, I don't know if this is as good or even better than when it happened with Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman on Raw in 2019. They then go through the drywall in the back, which obviously puts both of them down, and they're basically knocked out cold. And this has got people. So I put in my predicted match card that they should do a last man standing match between these two, which I think would be good. Some people, though, are suggesting ambulance match, which I'd be okay with too. I want to know, though, which one would you rather go with? Last man standing or ambulance match? Let me guys know, but that was also a hell of a brawl. It was awesome. Stuff like that I gotta see more often. And of course, as long as they don't put, because I'll be honest, when Braun Strowman used to do stuff like that back in 2017, it was cool until he started hitting the ceiling. With basically they're only going to push him so far. I gotta see more of this, and hopefully keep this feel of the sky is the limit for both these men. Because they're gonna have an awesome match when they actually do have an actual physical big beatdown match with weapons and whatnot, or insanity. I cannot wait. So that all was awesome. Anyways, Ludwig Kaiser then rolls up to Adam Pearce backstage. and he wants to know if he found a suitable candidate yet for Gunther. Adam Pearce says he's working on it, even though he thinks Sami Zayn makes a good case. Ludwig doesn't like this. And then Sami makes his entrance as they're watching it on a monitor, and Pearce explains that he's given Sami some time to talk about it tonight. So Sami comes out. He talks about Bret Hart and his work ethic of being a Canadian champion. He wants to be just like Bret Hart. Gunther claims that Sami's not on his level, but he doesn't believe that. And he doesn't think the ring general does either. He believes he's in Gunther's head, and he knows if they fight again, the same result will happen. He will beat Gunther again like he beat him at WrestleMania to end the 666-day Intercontinental title reign. Which then brings out Ludwig Kaiser. He says Gunther is saving Sami from the worst moment of his life. WrestleMania was undoubtedly the night of his career. For the first and only time, Kaiser saw Sami's family looking up to him instead of looking down to him. Miracles, though, never happen twice. So take it and run with it and enjoy it because it's never going to happen again. Sami, though, points out that clearly that Ludwig can succeed on his own. Merits and shows the world what he's capable of. And he does think he's going to win respect out here as Gunther's mouthpiece. Is he now? If he's going to come out here, he should at least have the balls to speak for himself. Which then brings out the ring general. So Gunther says, I'll answer your challenge in a second. But he first asks Ludwig, is there something you have to tell me? Because if there is, do it now. Ludwig is like, you know what? There's something I've been trying to get off my chest for a very, very long time. And then he drops Sami with Hilaria, and they just basically do a beatdown on him. And then as they go to leave, he Gunther tells Sami, the answer to your challenge is still no. Which, we have 2 more episodes of Raw left for Bad Blood. I'm guessing they're going to have to do this at Bad Blood, but if I'm being honest, I would still save this match for Crown Jewel. As again, Sami is so popular by the international audience, especially over in Saudi Arabia. I think they should save that for that show. Just say it. But anyways, as they go to leave though, Ludwig goes in for another DDT on Sami, but Sami pops up and DDTs him and then hits Ludwig with a haluva kick. To, of course, just show you can't keep him down. Cool. Damian Priest is backstage. And Liv Morgan interrupts him and talks trash on him and Rhea. Damian says he can't believe someone in Judgment Day has a set. And Liv should protect him because Rhea's going to shove her balls down her throat. Is what he's saying. Also, kiss Dom goodbye because he's going to end him when they fight in the main event later on. Speaking of another great match, some people who just literally, when you take the cuffs off of both of them, they can just put on stellar performances. Like this match with Bianca Belair and Io Sky. I still would give their match at Backlash 2023 as the rub is their best one, but I swear anytime it's just these two, they have incredible chemistry and just great things doing there. Io did a nice dive onto Bianca through the ropes, very similar to what Sasha Banks did when she was in WWE. And then we had Bianca do like a delayed suplex on Io and even walked her up the stairs and everything. Like, there was a lot of great action in this match. These two, again, when you take the cuffs off both of them, they are both 2 of the best today. I mean that wholeheartedly. And surprisingly, Io, with a roll-up, I believe no distractions too, with a roll-up, gets the win. I mean, yes, it's probably going to lead to a tag title match between Bianca, Jade, and Damage Control. Meh, but it was nice to see Io at least get a clean win, which is cool. we had, and then before we close out, we had Ludwig cut a promo on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens talking about how they turn on each other over and over again. He's going to show the world next that Sami is nothing but a sad, bitter man and jealous of him and his best friend, and the fact that he's never going to win a world title. And I believe that's a match for next week. And also, Ilya Dragunov finds Jay and wishes him luck against Braun Breaker next week, and they yeet and fist bump each other. Judgment Day also are backstage, and Finn says Ilya's out here yeeting with Jay and speaking highly of the Terra Twins, and maybe needs to think more closely about who he considers his friends. Ilya says he respects the three of them more than anybody in Judgment Day currently. Finn holds them back and says, "This is a reminder, but next time the message won't be so nice." And then Damian and Dom had their match. Like I said, the match was fine. Again, Damian and Rhea are on fire as babyfaces right now. But again, like I said, everything just feels so repetitive though with the Judgment Day. Damian do win. Afterwards, Judgment Day try to jump them, but Jey Uso comes out to make the save. But out of nowhere, Braun Breaker comes out of nowhere and spears him to retaliate from earlier tonight, and that's how the show went off the air. Yep. That's how the show ended. So like I said, Judgment Day stuff, again, is getting a little bit repetitive. But other than that, and of course the Natty and Zoey match was what it was. A great show. Again, I'm intrigued in seeing what they do with Gunther and Sami. Again, I still think they should hold that match with the Crown Jewel. The stuff with the New Day, though, and the argument with Kofi and Xavier was still by far my favorite thing for sure on the show. I liked how they added heat to Braun and Jay. Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, holy smokes, that brawl was awesome. And probably a few odds and ends I'm probably forgetting, but still another great show. I gave the show an A-. A- this week's episode of Raw. What are your guys' thoughts on the Raw this week? Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. And again, be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. You may also follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Have a great rest of your night. Do not forget also, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!